And we're laughing already. I'll tell you, this is Left-Handed with a lot to say. And she has a lot to say like I do. I'm James Lodge, your host. And I love talking to people who are left-handed. That's what I do. It's this show. It's the only left-handed podcast out there that's active, that's doing stuff like this. And I liked her from another I poached her from another podcasting I was doing
That's
with our
fast.
friend Brad Storm, who will be on here
Brad.
too later this week. He's going to show with us later this week. But I liked her, and we're talking about being left-handed. I was like, oh my God, you come on the show because she's hilarious. Um, is it Sunergy Studio? Is what you is your thing called?
Yeah, Sunergy Studios. Yeah,
I
I
love it.
came up with that just because I love the sun and it gives me energy.
I
So,
love it. I love it.
yeah.
It's
And it's
Monique, but it's
yellow.
Monique. But it's Monique. She does voiceover work, voiceover actor, all kind of stuff.
Thank
Teaches
you.
all kind of things. So it's Monique. Hello, Miss Monique. How are you?
I'm wonderful. It's a great Monday morning on a Victoria holiday. So
Yes.
I got to sleep in a little bit. Kids are sleeping in.
Well,
Yay!
it's so green up there. I love it. It's so green. It's so green. It's so I
Yeah.
love it. I
Yeah.
love it.
It's pretty. Beautiful. British Columbia, it's gorgeous.
Yeah,
You can have all your seasons here, and that's the best part about it.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So welcome to the show, and so you are left-handed. We were talking about this before, and now
Yes.
clearly in the voiceover world, it doesn't really do anything. I mean, for you in terms, or does it? Does it affect anything you do?
Yeah, of course. I think creative left-handed people are very creative. So I think that's where a lot of my characters have come through, the creative side. Being left-handed, you have to adapt to so many different things. So it's like a balancing act, right? You're living in a right person's world, but everything is backwards and left-handed that you have to adapt. So I
Yeah,
think the creativity came from there,
that's
part of
that's
it.
yeah, that's true. Now, here's what I can ask you. So for me, when I do interviews or I'm on a show, I do audio dramas or whatever. Where do you place your scripts? Like which side? Like how do you look at them?
On the left-hand side of the screen.
Me too. Okay,
Yeah.
so do that. Okay, for sure.
Yeah. If I'm looking up from an imaginary thing, I look to the left side of my brain. If I'm coming up with something, I'll go to the left to create. If I'm remembering something, I think I go to the right, but creativity comes from the left side. I look up left. Yeah. So,
Wow, no, that's a first for our show. I thought, but I was thinking, going, wait a minute, because all my stuff, my notes are over here. Folks, my left's on this side. I was turned around.
yeah.
My left, everything's over here. My phone's on the left side. Everything's over here.
Yeah, my
Like,
phone's always on the left.
oh my god, it's so funny. Okay, every time I do this show, I always learn something new. It's really funny. Okay, so that's right. No, because I know that when I was working in retail a billion years ago, and I was merchandising, I noticed they were saying, James, the way you merchandise is different than the way we do. Because we do colors sometimes, light to dark, whatever, or extra large to small. I was doing it the left-handed way, so to speak. I didn't realize I was doing that. My eye was going this way, and they're like, we should go this way. And what do you do? Or go from front to back? Like
That's funny. I would
that's right.
always start at the left for small and work my way to the right for large. Because
Yeah,
I think that's the way you should. If you're walking, you should walk in this direction, so you
I
should
know,
move
right?
in this direction. So I never,
Yes.
I, I never really think about how things are set up. They're just automatically done. And then somebody will come in and they'll go, oh, that's kind of backwards. Not in my view.
Exactly. It looks fine.
Not from my eyes. They're perfect.
Exactly. And the same here. So I just noticed that when I was working at certain things, they're like, "Blaze goes this way," and whatever. So it's kind of funny because again, we're just going naturally how we feel like right people are going naturally how they feel. Just kind of like converges together. And there's more of us than they think out there, folks. There's more of us than they think.
I got a
Now,
question for you. I
please
got a
ask
question
me,
for you.
please.
What hand do you use your scissors?
Left.
I cut with my right.
So it's my brother. So it's my brother.
Yeah, I
But see,
cut with my right.
I have left-handed scissors.
I don't have them. See, I think I adapted when I was a kid. I had to adapt to the
I did, but
scissors.
my daughter gave them to me, so I feel the difference.
Do
But
it?
I can
Ah,
cover. My brother cuts with his right too, but I don't. Everything's. I'm very left-handed. My brother's like he
I
eats
think I'm
his
slight
left hand.
ambidextrous.
Him too. Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's the
yeah.
thing too. So I mean, like, so that's a good question. But no, I eat everything. Everything is left-handed. But I also have a left-handed kitchen. So I set up where all the cabinets and the doors, my refrigerator doors, they open for left-handed people.
My stove's on the left-hand side where I live right now. So all of my cooking is on the right and and everything's on the left because I'm using this hand to stir everything and getting everything to this and working it this way.
Exactly. Me too.
See? See?
Me
It's the
too.
right way to think. But even though you're left-handed, it's the right way to think.
I love it. When did you? When's your earliest memory knowing you were left-handed?
Maybe coloring.
Okay.
I think coloring in kindergarten, you know.
Yeah.
But I seen other people doing it with the right hand, so I would try to color with my right hand, but I found it more comfortable to color with my left hand because I could really get the groove in, you
Yeah.
know, with my hands and stuff. But yeah, yeah.
Did
I
anybody
I
touch?
I
Go ahead. Please go ahead.
I was just gonna say I don't even remember thinking what hand I was. It was just an automatic connection to being dominant with the left hand more than the right hand.
I feel the same way, but I feel like when it was brought to my attention later, that's when I was like, oh, because I remember later in grade school, I would say like third grade, where they tried to change me.
Well, that's funny that you say that. They didn't do that in my school, but they did with my grandfather. He was left-handed. No, my grandfather's brother. He was left-handed, and they would tie his left hand behind his back to force him. And he wasn't a very stable person, I think, after that,
See?
because it was such a crossing of wires, you know, that you're forcing something to do that's dominantly or even genetically inherited, you know? So, yeah, I'm so glad. My sister's left-handed as well, and she's very creative. She's like a Martha Stewart, she's got creativity. She can take garbage and turn it into gold, right? Like she'll take somebody's, dresser outside on the throwing out there, and she would just revamp it and make it just gorgeous, and then make $100. Yeah,
Yeah, no, it's really funny because you're right. The creative thing is I've been always been very creative, and I was almost forced into these. They're smart too, so you got to do government and school this, and I'm like, I didn't want to do that stuff. I liked playing drums and piano. I liked singing. I liked,
me
I
too.
I didn't want to do that stuff. I didn't want. So I think once I broke myself out of it, because I got into this community about 17 years ago, the whole entertainment thing. I was already in my 40s. Late 30s, late 40s. When I found it, it felt very natural. Like this is where I'm supposed to be. I can still be smart, quote unquote smart, but like I like
You're
being.
so smart.
Oh my god, like totally. I totally know stuff.
I'm
Um,
left-handed. I'm so smart. Like, I mean, I think on both sides, right?
exactly. So I always thought that was really funny, but that they were trying to get me like, no, I'm a creative. I like to be creative. My brother's creative also. We're smart. That's fine, whatever. But like we're also creatives. I
Yeah.
like to see both sides of my brain. I'm assuming you do too.
I do. Well, as a kid growing up, I mean, I loved the theater. I was already in kindergarten. I was already in theater. I was Munchkin in The Wizard of Oz. And then, it went up on things every year I was in. And I loved singing. And my grade 3 teacher, God rest her soul, she had actually approached my parents and said, this girl needs to be singing, you know. But my parents weren't this, back in the day, they were just, so busy with they let the kid go to the school. They had free day off.
Yes, exactly.
So
Yes, I understand.
yeah,
Not
but
all
I'm very
parents
creative
are,
still.
but not all parents are stage parents. Like, okay, let's do this. We're gonna get you on the, that's just they don't. No one's taught that. If you're not in the business, you're not taught that. You're just like, I gotta
Yeah.
go to work and make money, and that's great. She wants to be on stage. Okay, like they don't. No, I mean that's a. It's a. I know our business is a crap.
Yes, that's my child up there
Yeah,
singing.
exactly.
That's
Yeah,
my
great,
child.
great. She was a tree. Great. I love it. The best tree on earth. Yeah, so that kind of thing. So I get it. I mean, I think nowadays maybe a little different, but back then I totally get it. They didn't do
But
anything.
I found I was a real a chatty catty, and I was always creative and I always wanted to do something fun and exciting, and maybe that's ADHD. Hold on, put that to the side. Maybe that's what goes hand in hand because a lot. Oh, I was watching the show Mr. Robot, and because I met you the other day and we're talking about left-handed people. Christian Slater is left-handed, and
I
he
didn't
was
know that.
writing. Yeah, I did too. I caught it, and I was like, "Oh, he's left-handed."
Oh
Ah,
my
ha,
God, I did not know
ha.
that. I did
You
not
know,
know that. Okay.
yeah. So I was like gonna look up how many left-handed actors there are because
Um, I wonder because I know of two in the soap world. I'm friends with them, and so I
oh
know they're left-handed in real life. And I mean, when they do write, they don't write on TV that often. When they do write, then you go, oh. But I don't know right now. I'm blinking right now who's left-handed. I know a few are, but I don't know. President Obama was left-handed, so he was. I remember that, and that was a big deal. But that's I should look up too, like how many actors are left-handed. But I know two of my
yeah.
friends who are actors. They're left-handed on soap operas, and I.
Because a lot of creative people are left-handed. Very artsy, creative people have that because I think it like it there's either what is it? It's artistic or no, it's linear
Right.
thinking
Yeah.
and artistic thinking, right?
Yeah.
So and I have both. Like I mean, I like numbers as well. You know, I'm always counting in my head. That's probably an ADHD thing. But I I like, you know, and it's I have a timing thing going on. You know, I used to be really rhythmic and I couldn't read music, but I could hear music and I could repeat and sing at the same pitch and tone really easy, but I couldn't read music very well. And I still really don't know how to read music. I just listen and hear the pitches in my head.
When you do voice work, how are your skills and retention when you're looking at a page and doing a character?
Um to a degree, it's okay. It's not as good as probably the real experienced theater actors and stuff like that. My memory's kind of gone a little bit because doing voiceover, you have the script in front of you, so it's there and then it's gone, right? But I can come back to the voice really easy. All I
Okay,
have to do is listen to it for a couple seconds, and I remember the voice that I'm in. Yeah.
but you also
So
know. But I want to bring this part of this when you're doing the scripts in front of you, though, you kind of have to know, not fully memorize, but you have to kind of know some of it. I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think when you read it a few times, it starts to flow
Yeah.
and then you can come off the page. And I think that's what a lot of voice actor directors want is to get off the page, right? See how much you can become the character and
Mm.
yeah. So, I mean, this morning I was doing um Sally Acorn from Sonic, and then I did Princess Peach from Mario Brothers. There's the thing that's going on right now. So if you like, go into them and vote me up there, and yeah,
Okay, we'll do that. We'll do
give me
that.
the job. And yeah, I mean it's a lot of auditioning. So I went in and I was listening to how Princess Peach sounded in the 1980s, right? The earlier one,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
was Kath. Her name was Kath. I can't remember her name. So I was listening to see if I could get the sound and the rhythm and the delivery of the same character because I think it's a dubbing because was for a Japanese movie,
Okay.
so they wanted the dubbing. So yeah, so I find those like super fun. I have so many different characters in my head.
I
It's
love it.
terrible.
I know.
It's
I
like
love it. I know. I love it. But no,
I
it's like.
go to sleep at night. I have to say goodnight to like 100 of them. Like, good night, good night. Oh, good night. Oh,
Okay.
whatever. Good night.
I love it. It's the Waltons. I love it. Good night, John Boy. I love that. No, but that's the thing. I mean, I'm saying I tell people all the time. It's like when you're doing voiceover work, yeah, you get a script. You may not have
Yeah.
to memorize it completely, but it has to sound natural. It has to sound like you're not reading it. That's like
Right. Well, you have to come into it like, well, who are you? Where are you? Where are you coming from? What happened just before?
right.
What's this scene all about? What's your intention? What is your goal? What do you want from this scene? You know, what's your action? You know, are you angry? Are you happy? Are you sly? Are you cunning? Or, you know, are you greedy? Whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then you just kind of, you know, if sometimes they give you a picture of the character and sometimes they
Oh, I
don't.
do.
You just
Oh, wow.
yeah. So, you know, sometimes I'll create a character and find the words, the selective words that are in there and give it a little bit of a tone or something like that, or give it an attitude, you know, and don't mess with me kind of stuff. So I just would, and then I would give a couple of different voices. So just one slight pitch up or down and a little different deliverance and cadence and whatnot, and go for it. I was doing a whole bunch of Disney ones on audition previously, and they were he was quite impressed. And I'm like, okay, then give me the job. Just give me the job then. Like,
I
that's
don't
an
want to
hour
be
of
impressed.
auditioning.
Just
Just
hire
give
me. I
me
don't
the
be impressed.
job.
Hire me.
Thank you for your, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll just take the job, please. Yeah.
You're like, that's fine being impressed and all, but yeah.
Just drop the gold in the bucket.
Oh, I love you. It's so hilarious. No,
Yeah, funny.
that's good. No, that's good insight. No, I tell people all the time. I said, yeah, it's not just you have to make it come real because when you're doing voiceover stuff, especially when because there's different things, animation stuff or whatever. A lot of times it's you don't have the visual cues you can use. You don't know visual props. It's all auditory. It has to be
Mm-hmm.
coming from you. If you're playing an old country woman who's upset, you have to convey that in the voice.
Yeah. You better get off my porch. I'll go shoot you dead, boy. Get off my porch, you rascal. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Oh, I got Meemaw. What's going on? Maybe. But that's
Shally, you just hook up them horses over there. I'll get me a bucket of hay and then we'll be on our way. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I love it. That's the best whole thing. So I tell people all the time it's kind of one of those things. But I always wonder when we look back because we are lefties and are very because I was always writing. I was a writer. So I was always writing. I have like
Oh,
journal.
we were laughing about the ink down the side
Yes,
of the
remember?
arm.
And that was my
Yeah.
I had a permanent stain back then. I'm sure the ink was toxic back then too now. I mean now it's all non-toxic, but I'm sure it was toxic. I'm a little crazy now, Monique. A little crazy. I'm sure. But that was the thing I did.
It's past the blood brain barrier by now, and now
Oh,
it's in there, and it's just totally stained.
okay. Oh my god, really? Okay, good. I'm fine. Okay. But no, my whole thing was we did everything. We wrote everything on paper. I mean, that was that's lined paper, whatever paper. We wrote everything back then. This is the 70s and 80s. So I just remember I wrote a lot, and I just remember that was a big deal. I was getting out my brain onto paper, and I have all these journals and things I'm going to go through at some point and see if there's anything in there. But it's like it's funny.
I was gonna say, was it ever neat? Because I don't know what it was. I think it was the angle of the book. Sometimes it would be really, really at a nice cursive angle,
Yes,
and then
yes.
sometimes it's straight up and down. And then I'd be like, okay, let's try right-handed. And I'd try to write it this way. And I'd be like, wow, I've got multi-personality of writing going on here.
Yes. I there are times I go, was I a doctor? I can't read any of this.
Yeah.
And then other times like that's very nice handwriting. So
Yeah.
I don't know either. Like you, I don't know. But
I
I'll
think it
tell you,
depends on the mood you're in, right?
well,
Like
when I was
I'm in
younger,
a romantic mood. I'm going to just nicely sway this out here. Oh, that looks good.
but girl, if you're angsty, I was like right hard. I was like right hard. I'm sure. As a young adult, everything was angsty. I'm sure for me. But then when I
Oh,
got to San Francisco and discovered lefties, so folks at home, I've talked before on the show, by Pier 39, there's a left-handed store, one of the few in the world. And I
yes, you're
walked
saying
in
that.
and I found a left-handed notebook that changed my life. I was like, this is amazing. My hands were fine, and the way you open up and it felt natural. And they started doing left-handed cards. I think in the 90s too. I started doing for left-handed cards, like left-handed cards. Oh my
And
god!
you gave them to right-handed people.
Of course, because we're mean. Screw you. We can do what we do. Because I
You
always
just
say,
make the joke, right? Because
right,
you always have to open it right, for the
right.
right-handed way. So
But they always make fun of me because the way I put cards in the envelope. They go, "You're
like,
left-handed because you do it a whole different way than we do." So I guess
putting
I
it
did.
in.
They do. I guess they do it. I guess they do it another way where you pull out the card, you see the card. So you put money in the card, it's up. But I put
Okay.
it in. See, like you said, it's just like
I
I
put
did.
it in. I put it downwards and in.
They say you should put it
Yeah.
upwards and in.
I don't
See, me
get
neither.
it.
I'm
Me
left-handed. Me
either.
neither.
I like you gotta pull the picture out at the same time. When
That's
you're
what
pulling
I
it out, you're
said.
like, oh, look at that card. That's
That's
gorgeous. Not like, hey, like the back of the card says $1.75.
you might.
Who wants to look at you want the picture of the card coming out? They go, oh, look at that. Did you make that? Almost. Yeah, me too.
Yes. I'm telling you, I'm just saying, it's like that's totally what they told me all the time. But I'm like you, I'm like, this makes sense to me. So that's kind of that's the funny part about that. But no, it's just really funny when I found the left-handed store. I was like, wow. So I have left-handed pens, I have left-handed stuff, and It helps a little bit, of course. I mean, but we're so
How do you have a left-handed pen?
it's okay. Well, I have one sitting in front of me, folks.
Is it
Hold
like,
on.
do they got some fatty things on it that
Yes,
hold your finger? Aha, okay, I get it now.
I've shown it on the show once before. I wish I would.
Show your pen.
Oh, your pen. Where are my pens? Um, they fit nicely in your hand in a way that's just incredible. And so I can
Yeah, because I mean, I've got a fatter one here that holds my pen, but I wouldn't know the difference if it hit me with a lightning bolt.
I can find one. I know I should have one ready. But there's like it's a trip. You're like, oh, okay. It really fits in your hand a certain way. And of course, I can't find one right now. Of course, okay.
That's okay. You're off the hook. You're left-handed.
I'm left-handed, off the hook. But I've shown it on the show. But these are left-handed scissors, so they fit in your hand so easily. It's like it's a big difference.
Wow.
It's a big difference. For some reason, I'm just like, and let's go.
I got a question for you. When it comes to eating at the table,
Yes.
do you have to make sure you're almost on the outside
Yes.
because otherwise you're bumping somebody with the right hand with their right
Yes.
hand all the yes, me too. I have to
Yes.
sit on the edge because I'm like, look, my arm's way over here. Like I need this space.
Yes. Either head of the table or at the ends. And like I said, my brother and I are both left-handed, the only ones in the family. So we'll sit next to each other usually, same side, because it's like, oh, we're fine, we're fine. But yeah, we always look at table placement. That's the thing that left-handed people do. We just look at before we sit.
I do where I'm gonna sit. Otherwise, I'm like this, right? Otherwise,
Yes,
I have to eat like this. And it's like, okay, yeah,
right,
you go ahead and have free will with your arm, your right-handed arm
right,
there. And
right,
just,
right.
I'll just eat like a little, I'll just bring my plate up here this way. Then there's
Exactly.
no movement at
Yes,
all. Yeah.
exactly. But seriously, I know every person I've touched on the show, we scout out the seating arrangement. And right now, folks have to do that unless they're bigger or smaller or whatever, that kind of thing. But other than that, they sit whatever they want to. They go, okay, get on in.
See, these are things that left-handed people have to think about, where even you're sitting to eat.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know, girl. I know that is
See,
crazy.
it's
Um,
not just an easy life, There are some, bumps on the way that we got to endure.
hey, but they
But I,
say we are very self-reliant. We are self-sufficient. We are able to adapt easily in a situation. They say we are good to go for the most part because we have
I
to.
have to agree with that because I'm very adaptable to a lot of things. I'm very quick at learning. My
Yeah,
father taught me so many different things. I mean, none of this stuff, but I mean, his was hands-on stuff. So there was carpentry, there was mechanics, there was machine operating, there was irrigation. He is a farmer. We lived on the farm.
I love it.
So yeah, so we had to do everything, right? And so it was hands-on. When I wanted to hang out with my dad, I had to learn how to change a master cylinder in a car or the brakes in a that was the way to hang out with him. Change the oil in a car or clean up the shop or something like that. There was no, come on, dad, let's go to a baseball game. That wasn't in his realm, not at all. That was a waste of time going to watch a baseball game. He had more important things to do. So
Yes,
I learned a lot. Yeah.
yeah, no, it's funny. We learn because our lives just like this naturally. Situation happens, we just got to handle it. We have no choice. We've had no choice all these years. I think that's
Yeah.
part of it. Just had no choice.
Are you more of a visual person or hands-on, or can you read the book and then that's what you go off of? For me, I'm not too good at reading. I'm visual, hearing, and hands-on.
I'm kind of same with you too. I can retain things pretty well, but like I'm very much a let's do it a couple of times. I got it.
Yeah.
Like seriously,
If I'm reading something, I'm like this.
right? Yeah,
After a while, that's I missed half that chapter.
yeah,
Can I go back and read that
yeah.
again?
So I'm very much. If they told me to read the chapter out loud, I'm good.
And me too.
Yeah, yeah.
I can retain it when I read it out loud.
Yeah, same here. No, I'm very much a tactile, visual
Yeah.
person. Like, just get me in there, put me in coach, I'm ready to
And I
play.
force everybody to listen to it too. Okay. If I have to talk out loud, you have to listen.
Yes, but it's not funny though. So like I said, for me, I've gone on sets because I've been an actual actor on sets, and they'll say, "Okay, James, do this, this, and I go, well, can we just do it once? Like we do the blocking rehearsal. I just got it. I go, okay, now I got it. Just tell me what you want me to do. Okay, got it. Now I got it, and then I can go
Yeah.
and do it. As
That's
opposed
pretty
to,
much me too.
yeah,
Yeah. That's the hands-on thing. Yeah.
yeah,
Because yeah, I think that's the artistic side of retaining and enjoying. When you enjoy something, you really retain it better, right?
yeah.
So,
I know people.
yeah.
I was on a show called Studio City, and I was watching people who were, I guess, they were really trying to memorize their lines. They were in the corner, just in the corner, just staring at that script, just worry, sweating, and everything. And I was like, well, look, I glanced over it obviously, and I was like, okay, when we get on set and do the rehearsal, I'll probably get right afterwards. And we did. And me and my actors, we all were in sync with you. I always say, stay present, be present with your fellow actors. My friend was like, just look in my eyes and go from there. I can do that. And literally just, but it was like we did it a couple of times, and I was like, okay, got it.
Yeah.
The words came easily
Yeah.
because I was like I was living it, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, you're in the moment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
really have to do that.
And that's improv skills too, being
I have some of that too in my
reading, yeah,
past. Yeah.
reading body language and going off of, what that person's saying, acknowledging it, doing the yes and kind of thing, you know.
Well, for
So,
me, it's the being a host. I'm a host basically. I do this mostly, reading the room. Because you live hosting, you have to read the room. So you're always reading
right.
the temperature. You're always somebody saying something to you over here. Like I have a lot of stage work, which I'm sure you choose on some level. So like I kind of that's part of that. So I'm pretty easy to trust someone else and go, okay, I'll fall into whatever the jokes go. Okay, let's do it. I've been a co-host on things, and like I know where I can sit and not just we did co-hosting basically together. We did a thing together. It was like I don't just jump in and talk over everybody. I know how to
Yeah.
sit back, interject, come back out, interject. We all have our moments. We all laugh, talk. There is an art to it. There's a total art. There's an art to
Yeah, sometimes I still interject when the thought just can't shut
it.
up in my head. It's got to come out, you
Well, yours
know.
was funny. Your stuff was funny. That's why I liked it. Your stuff was funny. So like, yeah, that's fine. Your stuff was funny. But you know what I mean? It's one of those things where it's just kind of like that's it's there is an art form to improv and active listening, that whole thing. And I think we have that as left-hand people. We're so open because we have to kind of be present in everything, just in general.
Yeah, I think we're more observant,
Yeah.
with the surroundings, around you. Um, and like I mean, I thank goodness we weren't left-handed back in the day, you
Well, I
know.
know. I know.
I mean, I wonder what would have happened. Well, I know that they would tie, back in the 50s, though, they were allowed to strap your hand with a ruler, right? As long as they didn't draw blood, that was so, man, can you imagine being slapped on your hand every time you tried to write with your
And
left
it's
hand?
so traumatizing. You're just being your natural self. Your brain's going, no, you're right with this hand. And you're told that's wrong.
Yeah.
That's
I
just
mean,
like,
I hurt my shoulder in an accident. That's what got into voiceover because I was done for about 8 years or so, just because of rehabbing. Can you imagine you left-handed I mean, anybody trying to use the opposite hand to do your personal washroom stuff? Can you imagine? Like,
yeah,
I mean, like,
I know.
yeah, I need to buy a bidet.
You're right. You're like right now, stat. Yes.
Yeah, ASAP,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah. No, that's no, it's tough. No, it's tough. Right. It's tough. My mother had a rotator cuff issue for a few years, and so she's like, "I'm right-handed. It's my right shoulder. Like I can't do certain things." She couldn't drive anymore or anything. She had to stop. So I was like, "I get it. I totally get it." It's like it sucks to be forced to say you got to use your left hand, or if you got forced to say you use your right hand. That's not good.
Yeah, I actually practice writing with my right hand. I just practice because it's actually really good to balance both sides of the brain. So I practice. And even when you're walking, do you start with your left foot or do you start with your right foot? It makes a huge difference.
We
So,
have had so many talks on this show about is there such thing as left-footed or right-footed? We got a whole bunch of talks about that. Soccer, kicking footballs. And it's funny you're bringing that up again. Like that, so it keeps coming up on my show. Like, is there a thing? Is there such thing?
I think there could be, like left side dominant
Yeah,
in the, but I've even practiced walking at the same time, left hand and left foot together, just to practice to break it, just to both at the same time, right?
Try that.
Right hand, right leg, just to break a pattern, and then standing in one spot. What did I start with? If I stood, I would start with my left foot. I'm thinking about it right now. If I stood in standing still and started to step, I would step with my left foot.
So get from this chair. It's my right foot. But I got to do a standing one. I got to do a standing one. Check
Yeah,
that out.
stand up, and then when you're about to step, which one do you go with?
Oh my God, my left.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, it's always my left.
Just stand in one spot and then begin.
Left.
Haha. Yeah.
But getting up was my right foot. But once I went to turn, it was my left foot.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I never thought of it before either. Never thought of it before, folks.
Yeah.
Never
So
thought of
we're a creature of habit, right?
right.
Yeah. So like it becomes a dominant pattern. But so to break a pattern, you have to be so conscious of breaking a pattern.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, it's funny because I was just sitting here thinking, wait a minute, if I stand still, I step with my left. Ta-da!
Right. And I do. That's what I do. But that's one of the common themes on the show that we haven't really fully fleshed out because there's no statistics or anything on that. But it's just like, well, if you're left-handed, are you also left-footed?
Yeah.
That's it. It's not funny you brought that up. I was even gonna bring that up. I totally forgot about that. Like,
Now you're going to think about it for the whole week.
I am. I
Oh
love
my God, I stepped with my left foot.
my
Holy
left
cow,
foot.
I went up the stairs with my left foot. Yeah.
I know. That's so funny. I love it. Well, thank you, Miss Monique, for being on the show. You're
Oh, you're
wonderful,
welcome.
wonderful, wonderful. Sunergy Studios is a place. She's for hire, folks. For hire.
Yeah.
Where can they find you?
Well, I have my two websites. One is Sunergystudios.ca, which is my production that I put things together for companies, music, script writing, and voiceover and stuff like that to it. And then for hiring me as character work, it's moniquetanguay.ca. And that's where you can just reach out. And then also on YouTube, I have Sunergystudios.ca. Please subscribe. I need some more
Okay, you too.
subscribes. There's all my samples are in there.
Okay.
And yeah.
I'm gonna go there.
So
I'm gonna go there right now and subscribe.
awesome.
I know you had a YouTube channel, so I'm gonna make sure I subscribe.
Yeah. Well, they're just all my samples. And a lot of them are some of the Domingo challenges from Domingo Castillo, who is a voiceover. I love him. He's a
Yeah.
really nice coach. Yeah. So, and then I also, for the last 4 years, been at the VO Academy, which is, I love the group. I'm so thrilled and thankful to be with that group. It brought out a lot of my, um, those inner critics in your head. Well, a lot of them are gone now because I now, you go in there, you do your scripts, you get critiqued kindly and suggestions, and you learn as you go along. And you don't feel like, oh, that was really crappy. That was like, oh, okay, I could do that. I could do that. And so I love them. And it's right. It's really cheap right now. It's only like $25 a month. And you get to have 5 or 6 classes or something like that. And they're about an hour and a half long. And it's fantastic.
I wrote that down. We'll put them
So
all in
shout out to VO Academy as
the
well.
academy, and I'm gonna put them all in the links. I'm putting them all in the links. But no, it's people don't understand that you can help people with compassion instead of just yelling at them.
Yeah.
They're just like
Absolutely. Absolutely.
there's a way to do it.
This day and age, you know what? Kindness cures all. It really does. I like that. Kindness cures all.
Here's all.
Huh,
I like that.
look at
We'll
that.
end it
I'm
there.
coining that. Kindness cures all.
These are trademark copyrighted. And I'm James Lott Jr., of course, and this is Left-Handed Lot to Say is on Facebook. I have a group on Facebook. But follow me everywhere, also James Lott Jr. Left-handed people unite. We love you. See you next time.
Left, left, left.
Yeah.